Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Trails Radio Show. Thank you for joining us this evening. Today, my special guest is Mr. Chris Christian. Thank you, and join us in a minute. Yes, how are you? I'm fine. Are you ready to get started for the interview? Okay. Okay, my first question to you is, how did you get started with your career? How did you get started in the industry?
When I was in the fourth grade, my teacher had a son named Miss Patterson, and he had a song on the radio in Abilene, Texas. And I asked her if he would come sing that song I was hearing on the radio. So he came in our fourth grade class and played the song. And halfway through that song, I said, that's what I want to do. So I bought a ukulele and a guitar, and eventually learned piano, did talent shows in elementary school. And really from that point on, I knew what I wanted to do, so I was pretty focused from then on till my freshman summer at Abilene Christian University. I just drove to Nashville. Actually, it's a sophomore summer. Drove to Nashville and, didn't know anybody, and that's just started meeting people and had an opportunity to go back to Nashville and live at someone's house. So that's where it all got started, and then just went from one thing to the next.
Yeah. So, what is the most challenging part for you being in this, being a performer?
Well, there's not anything challenging. I just love it. I love what I'm doing. When I started making records, B.J. Thomas did an album with him that went about 500,000 units. Then their label just offered me basically unlimited budget to do as many albums as I wanted to do with anybody I could find. So I worked 20 hours a day, but nothing was challenging. It was just, I learned, each time I did an album, I learned things. So there's always a learning curve, but I love what I was doing.
Sure. Yeah, anything you do career-wise, you learn something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been in radio for 6 years, and I've learned something new every day. I learn something new each time I interview somebody.
Right. But if you love it, it's not really work. It's just, I was fortunate to do for a living, what I love to do.
Yeah. If it's enjoyable, it's not work.
Right. Correct.
Do you still perform? Are you still doing records and stuff?
Well, I haven't. I finished, or close to finishing a new album, but it's been about 20 or 25 years, so I haven't. But that was really just because I had some songs I wanted to record. And I haven't had a book, A Grandmother's Prayer, that just came out that tells about my whole music journey. And I'm going to go on tour, to different places, playing some of the songs that I did in the past, but also telling the stories of the Kardashians and Elvis Presley and Amy Grant, the start of Christian music and those kind of things.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your book. It's called A Grandmother's Prayer. And can you tell us a little bit about why did you want to make the book? Can you tell us a little bit of background about it?
Well, my life has been just a series of just unbelievable things that happened that I couldn't believe it happened. But so I wanted to just put a book down. Really, the original idea was for my children and grandchildren, just to kind of say, this is what I did, because I wish I had a book from my grandfather and great-grandfather about their story, and I don't. And so that was the original idea. And then when I started doing it, it's got pretty fascinating to put all these stories down of meeting Elvis Presley and signing Amy Grant when she was 16 and working with Olivia Newton-John on her first album in the United States and having records of my own. So, and I worked for Wayne Newton in Las Vegas at the top of the penthouse at the Sands. So
oh, wow.
It felt like, other people felt like there might be some interest beyond just my family. And so my grandmother, the reason it's named the Grandmother's Prayer, my grandmother always prayed that since I was 5 years old that I would let little Chris go into the world and preach the gospel. And she said that in every prayer. And then what happened, I went to Nashville to be in the music business. There wasn't a Christian music business. It was just a music business. Mm-hmm. But what happened was I ended up producing Dogwood and B.J. Thomas and Amy Grant, about 100 other Christian albums. And so I think that's the answer, the way God chose to answer my grandmother's prayer.
Yeah. Yeah, in this business, it's unbelievable, how many opportunities you get,
Well, great opportunities are not that many. I mean, generally, it's really tough to get a great opportunity. You meet a lot of people and you have a lot of things happen. But, Elvis Presley recorded the first song I ever recorded. I never met him. I never played him the song, and I wrote the song in high school. So those kind of things don't happen often. And, I signed a 16-year-old girl that wasn't looking for a record deal named Amy Grant. She sold 30 or 40 million records now, so that doesn't happen too often. So those kind of things are, they seem to keep happening to me, but, it wasn't. Looking back, and I know the music business extremely well, those kind of things don't happen often, if ever. And so I just think those were the answer to my grandmother's prayer.
Yeah. Yeah, and prayer can be a wonderful thing, It's the only really important thing you do is pray, and, your prayers can be answered, not right away, but eventually it will,
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have different opinions on prayer, and even God, for that matter. But the book just says this is what I think, and this is when I think these unbelievable things happen to me. I don't think I was that much better than anybody. I don't think I was smarter. I just think I was blessed.
Yeah. Do you have any upcoming projects coming up? I know you said you had the book come out and you just finished a record. Do you have anything coming up?
Well, no, I'm really focusing on the book, and that'll end up being a documentary or a movie, something like that eventually. But I'm just taking my time on that. I'll probably spend the next year just doing emotional things and touring around the book. So that'll probably be the next year.
Yeah. Well, it's good to stay busy, It keeps you going,
Yeah. Well, I've always been busy doing what I want to do, so it doesn't seem like work. Just seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's supposed to if you enjoy it, and if you enjoy it, it's very rewarding in the end,
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. My next question to you is, what is your advice to people who want to get into the industry? What is your advice to people who like you chose the career, performing music and stuff? What is your advice to them who want to get into that particular career?
Well, I think no matter what career you want to get into, the advice is the same. It's go to where there's a lot of people doing what you want to do. Sometimes it's where you live, sometimes it's not. And then when you're in the area where a lot of people are doing what you want to do, get to know somebody really well and do everything you can for them and try to become a good friend. And at some point, I think that person very likely will turn around and give you an opportunity and help you, because everybody in any career has been helped by people along the way. So that's my advice, whether it's music or banking or any other occupation.
Yeah, connections and networking are great for each career, for any career, make friends you find that have the same interests as you.
Yeah, there's one thing I say in the book, though, that's really important. There's a chapter 21, the very last chapter is just lessons learned, and there's only 21 sentences, but I think they're really very, very important sentences to follow. And one of them is, it's not who you know, but a lot of people say it's who you know. But my feeling is it's not who you know, it's who likes you. Because a lot of people know a lot of people, but if somebody that's in your area that you want to be in, they really like you, they'll probably really help.
Yeah. And there will be, obstacles and challenges, but you have to push on through, you know. If you want to succeed and be positive, you have to, there will always be challenges in, your career and in life,
Well, another thing I say in that chapter 21 is, life, the road to success is not a ladder, it's a jungle gym. Mm-hmm. And when I speak at universities and colleges, when I open things up for questions, I always get the question, well, how did you deal with failure? Or rejection. How did you deal with rejection? And the first time I was asked that, it kind of stumped me because I was trying to think through when I'd been rejected. And I couldn't think of any time I'd been rejected. And then later on, I realized that obviously, not everything went the way I wanted it to go. But I never looked at it as rejection. I just looked at it, I need to change what I'm doing, or they don't know what they're talking about or something. So I just always, I didn't mind the jungle gym. I would swing right, swing left. But eventually, if you just keep at it, you'll eventually reach to that place of the ladder you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, failure can be a wonderful thing, because you can learn from it,
Yeah. Well, I like to think that you don't fail unless you quit. I think just changing the direction you're going or changing your approach or changing the plan, it's not failure. I think that's just adjusting. And so if you look at it that way, you can really control if you fail or not. You can decide if you're going to quit. And as long as you're trying and you're just trying to adjust, you're not really failing. You're just adjusting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no good to quit, especially if you enjoy it, why would you quit something you enjoy,
Right. Yeah, and even if you don't get to where you want to be, at least you've enjoyed the journey, and that's what you're saying. At least you've enjoyed the process of putting your effort into it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've been in the industry for 6 years. I've done the radio show, I've done theater acting, voice acting, and I have high-functioning autism, and I have faced challenges, but I haven't let that stop me. I keep trudging on through. Like you said, it's a jungle gym to success, so I keep swinging by.
That's good. That's good. Stay at it.
Thank you. And thank you for letting me interview you. It was a short interview, but yeah, I appreciate, letting me talk to you and hearing about your career. And I'll get a copy of your book. It sounds very interesting. And,
right.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else listening, if they want to look it up, it's on Amazon, A Grandmother's Prayer.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a website also where people can find your stuff?
Yeah, it's www.grandmothersprayer.com, and that's the publisher's direct website as well.
Okay, great. Well, Mr. Christian, thank you for letting me interview you, and have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And that was singer, performer, and writer, Mr. Chris Christian. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, and God bless you all. Oh, join us tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. my time, Central Time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and 5:30 a.m. Pacific Time. I know that's very early, but if you're up, you're welcome to join us. If you're not up, well, don't worry, you'll still be able to listen to the interview because it's pre-recorded. They'll all be available. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.